And I met him at one of the Greek functions. I didn't know he went to Roosevelt High School until later on. And he told me that he went there, but he was a great athlete, but he was known for his gifted talent in teaching. And teaching made him one of the world's best teachers.
This is where we started playing in 1981, fall off. We'd train hard. At that time, the smog was really bad. We'd have a lot of smog, and we'd train. Paul would run about 64 kids. We'd run around, warm up. We'd have 6 kids per court. And we'd train hard. We'd all push each other super hard. And we were all trying to be champions.
Of course, his big tenure was at Pierce College, where he became worldwide known there. So he was invited to go all over the world teaching tennis.
15 years ago, Paul was talking about going to Japan, to South Korea, and even to Greece, and he was talking to coaches and players and coaching coaches to coach. And about 6 years ago, I actually went to a sports event in Taiwan. And the training we were doing here at Pierce College, those players were doing, the way they were training was the way we were training. And I swear I thought Paul Xanthos taught these kids this.
But Paul was one of the best known and one of the most professional players in tennis. He had so many honors passed through his way. And one time we had a meeting at a sports meeting down at San Pedro, and Paul was one of the guest speakers, and he was talking to the young kids there about tennis, and they were listening very intently about everything he had to say. And he passed that gift along to other people. He inspired them.
He got a fair amount of scholarships to universities. So, I mean, here's a quintessential coach, a person who cared about his players, who established an aura around the campus. You know, we walked around the school feeling we were champions, and when we went to play a team, we felt the same way. We felt like we're not going to lose. And I think for a period of maybe about 10 years, Paul rarely lost. The teams rarely lost. Like John Wooden had teams like that where he'd have his second team was as good as his first team, and Paul had similar talent on his team.
The history of Paul, we made him one of the biggest honors we paid Paul. I was the chairman of the Athletic Hall of Fame for the Order of AHEPA, the American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association, AHEPA. And we have about 87 great Greek hero athletes that are part of that heritage. But he became a member of the Hall of Fame for the Order of AHEPA. I don't know, he coached for many years there, but one day he called me up and he says, a couple of years ago, and he says, Pete, I'm going to be coaching back at Pierce again. Here he was 85. A few days, about a month ago, Kiki, his wife, called me up in the morning and said, Paul passed away in his sleep.
A lot of us are teaching pros or in the tennis business one way or the other. And Paul's directly responsible for that. Paul Xanthos pushed us to get to the best level that we can, so that we can compete against our opponents, but obviously to push ourselves to be the best we could be.
Paul was a good speaker. He had a charming way about him. He could inspire people. And in this way, he became a well-known figure. People loved to have him around because he had very nice things to say about people. He used to congratulate them on their ability, always inspired them to do better. And he'll never be forgotten in this community because of his personality and his influence on tennis.
That's how I want Paul remembered, that here was a man who loved the sport and he tried to take it all over the world, and it doesn't matter who you were, what color you were, what personality you were. he felt like you could play tennis. And that's incredible. I gotta say, that's really incredible. You gotta love the sport, you gotta love people to do that. And I would say that's how I would want Paul remembered, and I hope people remember him that way.